Hey guys, it's Casey. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. Today I'm going to be doing another DIY cover video. It'll be just like when I did my video. I'll link it up here for this DIY cover. I haven't used these in a while, so the Mod Podge is actually stuck together, but it didn't mess anything up. So I used the Be Happy Box tissue paper that came in the Teresa Collins collaboration box to create this one. And today I am going to experiment and use this tissue paper that came in the new, I don't think it was called the Bloom box. It was the anniversary box that just released. And I'm going to try to use black covers. Now I've already had these covers. You can see that I've actually made these holes wider. And this is technically, I think, the inside back of the cover, but I'm going to use this as my front so that it's a smooth surface instead of this quilted surface. The first thing that I want to do though, because I'm worried that this tissue paper will not show up because it is a white background on a black surface, I'm gonna cover, see how this, once you put the Mod Podge on here, it would wet this, and I don't know that you'd be able to see the actual florals. So I'm gonna cover this using Mod Podge with just a sheet of copy paper, and the copy paper that I use is the HP, it's the 32 pound, or 32 brightness, 32 pound I think actually. It comes in a red package, so it's just a lot thicker, and it's very close to the Happy Planner quality paper. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mark out with my pen kind of where I want to make my edges, and I'm going to use my paper slicer to cut this down. It doesn't have to be exact, but I don't want to really cover up the stitching that is on this cover. So let's see, another thing you're gonna need paper towels. I forgot to tell you this. You're gonna need a paper plate, Mod Podge, and I'm gonna use the matte because I don't want it to be like super glossy. And then you're also gonna need like a foam craft brush or paintbrush. All right, so let's cut this out. Let's see, I use a paper cutter because, oh, your girl can't cut a straight line for nothing. So let's just cut it maybe right about here, and then I'll kind of curve the lines with my scissors. Did I just cut that? Yes, I did. That's okay. It's actually above where I needed to cut. All right. And then if this works, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, but I won't make you guys watch that part. I'll just do this one side, let you see how I do it, and then come back after it's dry and let you see how it turned out. So let's lay it back down here. You can do this with any tissue paper. It doesn't have to be your Be Happy Box tissue paper. Any tissue that you find in a store somewhere that you really like. You can do this with some Mod Podge and tissue paper. Now, these covers by the Happy Planner are like, they seem to be rare now. Like, they're hard to find. So good luck with that. Hopefully they're going to be coming out with some new ones, maybe some different colors, some solid ones without designs. I don't know. But for some reason, they've quit selling these. So I'm not sure what to do about that in the future. But if you have one laying around that you're not really using, this is a good way to use it. Now what I'm thinking might be smarter is if I actually attach my tissue paper to this paper first. So why don't we do that? Let's do that. I'm thinking that would be smarter instead of trying to lay down my tissue paper on that cover and making that work. So let's see where I want my tissue to line up, and I got my fan on because it's so hot and it's blowing everything around. I don't think it really matters. This pattern is pretty easy to start anywhere. Hopefully if you guys got this Be Happy Box, you saved your tissue paper. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is just cut this out right here and then cut off the edges once I actually glue it down. I'm gonna grab my bigger scissors for this. I think they're behind me. They were. All right. So I'm not gonna cut this like totally neat. I just want to be able to have a smaller piece to work with. Did I cut that? Yes, okay. So then what I'm gonna do is I am going to put some Mod Podge. I'm gonna put a paper towel down. I need to turn that daggone fan off. Tissue paper blows around with like little effort. I'm gonna line this with paper towels because I don't want to get this Mod Podge anywhere on my desk. So I'm gonna shake this up real good because I've had this Mod Podge forever. I don't even know if this will come off. The lid's probably not gonna come off. Okay, so I got the lid off. So if you ever have Mod Podge to where the lid is like glued shut, I just took my scissors and like worked the edges up some, and then it came off. So I poured some in my paper plate here that I'm gonna be working with. And let's hope I don't make a humongous mess. Okay. So I need to take my tissue paper and let's put this way. So I'm going to be putting this side down first. There's actually a cut in this paper, if you can see that, but that's okay because when you actually Mod Podge, it'll kind of glue it together. So I'm just going to put this like liberally, but not a whole ton, up here in this top corner, and then I'm just going to kind of work from here. So we'll do this top little bit first. I really hope that this paper is going to adhere to the cover. I feel like it will though with this Mod Podge, but we'll see. So then let's take our tissue paper and line it up on the edge here. It doesn't have to be exact because remember I did cut extra that I said that I can cut off the excess when I'm finished. And then I want to just kind of do this like you would vinyl and press as you go just to kind of get the bubbles out. Now there are some wrinkles here. I'm not going to worry about wrinkles. It's tissue. You're going to get wrinkles. I'm not going to let my OCD get the best of me here. And you're not really even going to be able to see them. All right, and then we're just going to continue here. So I'm going to put some Mod Podge under here. And then we're going to go back over it with another coat of Mod Podge too to seal the top of it. So if you don't get it perfectly Mod Podged underneath, this time your top Mod Podge layer is going to help seal it and glue it because it's tissue, so it's so thin that the Mod Podge is just going to kind of leak right through. So let's just keep moving through here. Just make sure you're gentle with your tissue because once it gets wet, it is going to rip very easily. And like I said, there's going to be wrinkles, there's going to be a couple little bubbles. If you get a bubble, you can take an X-Acto knife and just kind of poke the bubble and work the air out. Not a big deal. Like I said, treat it like you do your Cricut vinyl or your Silhouette vinyl. So now we're coming up on the part where I had that slice, and I'll show you how that'll piece together with this Mod Podge. You know, you could probably even do this with like a laminated, just if you wanted to just do a DIY laminated cover like a lot of people do, and you could just probably do a white laminated sheet, punch holes in it, and cover this with Mod Podge, or you could do this part and then laminate this. There's lots of different options, ways you could do this. So I got that done, and you cannot even tell that it's slit. I don't even know where that slit was. So now I'm just going to cut off this big excess piece here, I'm not gonna do it precisely because I want this to dry. And what I'm gonna do so that it dries flat is I'm going to lay my cover on top of it and let it dry. And then once it dries, I will come back and show you guys the rest of the process. Just be careful that you don't have like Mod Podge all over some of this stuff, so because you don't want it to stick to anything and then rip your paper. All right, so we're gonna let this dry for a little bit. It shouldn't take too long. While I'm letting this dry, I'm gonna go ahead and work on this other side, and then I'll be back to show you how to adhere it to your actual cover. Okay, so this one is fairly dry. There's still a couple of wet spots in here, but I did cut around my edges just to kind of neaten it up a little bit. And now I'm going to grab what is going to be my front cover, and I'm going to go ahead and apply the Mod Podge to the actual cover and kind of glue this down before I do my top coat, just because I don't want to make a huge mess. And I think in my mind, I think that this is going to be more simple. So let's just start, and I'm going to put a fairly good layer of the Mod Podge on here, just because now I'm working with regular printer paper, which is a little thicker. And once you get it kind of lined up, go ahead and just press down where you want it. And then don't worry about the Mod Podge that's along the edges here. We're going to work on edges in just a few minutes because we want to make sure those edges are good and secured. Now this is a little crooked, so I would suggest lining up your edge first before you secure your top. Okay, like that. And then I'm just going to do the same process that we did with the tissue paper. And we're going to apply it kind of liberally, like I said, because we're working with paper here. And this is just going to act as glue. I think you can probably use like Elmer's glue too, but I have Mod Podge, so that is what I'm going to be using. And then we're definitely going to have to press down on this with something to get it to dry good and adhere before we do our top layer. And so it only took maybe, I don't know, 10-15 minutes for this, the tissue paper part to actually dry. So it's not going to take long for this whole project to be dry. You just got to have a little bit of patience. Make sure it's good and dry before you start working with the next part. All right, so that's it on this part. And I'm just going to go over it with my paper towel here and just kind of get any of the excess glue off the edges. And then I'm also going to rub fairly hard to try and get it to adhere. Now, I'm going to grab a South Carolina State history book and lay on top like that for a few minutes to make sure that it adheres fairly well. Okay, and I'll be back to finish the next step. Okay, so this is almost completely dry and it's only been a few minutes, but I do need some more Mod Podge on my plate. And then we're going to finish off this top. And then I'll come back and show you again the final product. So I've also been working on the other side off camera. So all we're gonna do is apply this again, kind of liberally. And I want you to kind of go along the edges, almost like you're kind of pushing some of the Mod Podge up underneath the edge. And then you can go through and wipe the excess off. But you wanna make sure these edges are really adhered well, because they are what are going to catch the brunt of the use. So you don't want them peeling up anytime. So then we're just going to smooth that over, and I'm going to go ahead and take a paper towel and wipe off this excess because I did kind of make a mess. And I wouldn't too much worry about the excess, except maybe like if you have a big glop like that, because it is going to, it's all going to kind of blend in anyway. But you do want to clean up big messes. like I just made here. Okay, and then we're just going to keep working around, smoothing this down. And like I said, this coat is going to be very liberal. Just put lots of Mod Podge on there. Don't worry about it being too much, because like I said, this is the outside of the cover that's going to get touched and pulled and whatnot. So you want to make sure it's good and adhered. Doing these edges again here too. And then we're going to do these bottom edges. And I just got some of this on my desk, so we're going to clean that up real quick. And I forgot to put my paper towel under there, so let's do that and then go over these edges again, just kind of smoothing that out. And then I'm just going to do little streaks across just to smooth out everything. Then we're going to let this dry, and it should be ready to go. I may end up putting another coat on top of it later. You'll just kind of have to judge it for yourself once you're finished with this top layer, once it dries, just to kind of see if you want to apply another layer. And I think this makes a very pretty cover. It turns a plain black cover into something really cute. So there's that. I'm going to let it dry, and hopefully it will dry matte, so that it won't be shiny at all. So I'll be back shortly to show you the finished product again. Okay, so here we have it. We have our finished product, and I did go ahead and put another layer of Mod Podge on this just to protect my edges. And I don't know, I may need to go and put another one around the edges, and I'll just kind of see how it goes. So I have this as my outside cover, and then this is my inside cover. Now you could always do this and use your outside like this, and then flip to this being your inside cover. You can use these however you want to. So thank y'all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll give me a big thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I hope you will consider subscribing. And if you do hit that subscribe button, make sure you set your bell notifications to all so that you don't miss anything when I upload. Thank y'all so much for watching. I'll see you on my next video. Bye guys.